Motion to adopt those.
Motion
will be
approved,
done.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Minutes are adopted. All right, we have the entire constellation of Saban Center, a constellation of Saban Center stars in today.
Yeah.
Let's,
I see them here.
Thank you. Mr.
Well, let's-
Busby, Mr. Busby, as Audrey and Brant make their way, and certainly they are not only stars, they're rock stars.
Okay.
So,
Well, I just tell Brant she looks a lot better in white early than LaPerry did.
I think
Call
you
that
get
little
unanimous.
Unanimous.
consent on that.
And I don't want to leave her out back there either, so,
We need to
okay.
get a picture of the shoes now.
Okay, Mayor, is there any intro you
Yes,
want
sir.
to tee it off with?
Yes, sir. And our goal over the next 15 to 20 minutes is not only provide you the financial picture of the Saban Center, but also this is really the first public announcement of what is in the bid specs, what we will receive bids on May 15th will be. And as I mentioned to you in an email last night, every day our work is important at City Hall. But there's certainly milestone projects, significant projects that will have generational impacts. This may be, in my career with the city, as you will see through the course of the presentation, the project or initiative that will have the most generational impact, not only for Tuscaloosa, but our entire region. Just a little history. In 2019, when we proposed to elevate Tuscaloosa, we proposed $60 million for an event or experience venue, or venues. It's actually in the original budget document. Since over the last 6 years, we spent a lot of time and due diligence trying to figure out what should that be? How should it be? Should it be a conference center? Should it be a sports center? Should it be this? Should it be that? And through the due diligence, a lot of luck, a lot of smart people, a lot of strategic thinking has come to the moment that we present the final package to you. There's been nearly 24 council votes on the Saban Center itself since 2019, but today is probably the most important briefing of all those different presentations. The last thing I'll say before I turn it over to Audrey, and then I will come back near the end, is I don't think you need to take our word this is going to be successful. I'd like you to take our word. I'd like you to trust in what we say and what we proposed. But you're going to see the who's who of not only Tuscaloosa, but the state, business community, not only be involved in this, but invested with their hard-earned money and time. If you would have told me in 2019 that the city would put up $60 million and we would nearly get a dollar per dollar match on that, I would have broke your hand reaching for that deal. And that is where we are today. And so I think you will join me in seeing what's been put together. And then as Ms. Standers walks through the financial plan that's in place to execute this to our standard. So I'm going to turn it over to Audrey and Brant, who deserve so much credit. They deserve really the entire credit from the city's end of making this happen. So
Okay.
Audrey and
Thank you,
Brant.
Mayor. Take it away.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having us today. We're really excited to talk to you about Saban Center. So this is the latest and greatest. This is our north rendering of the project. This is what you would actually look at if you were at the amphitheater. You see this north facade that has the Coca-Cola Plaza out front. That's the Galaxy Gallery and the glass entrance behind it. And so this is our newest rendering, and we are so excited to show you. So when we started this project, I think you can all remember that this has evolved since 2019. But we worked with our teacher team, we've worked with our industry partners, we've worked with the state to identify what are we trying to solve at Saban Center. And so the biggest things that we want to solve are our greatest economic threat, which is education and workforce for our city and for our state. So back in 2019, Governor Ivey, she reported in her ACES report that there would be 850,000 STEM jobs needed for 2026. And the crazy part about that
Audrey,
is,
could you explain to some of the people maybe listening at home, STEM?
yes, okay, so it's science, technology, engineering, and math. And And that has been a push that has been made by our education across the state, across the nation. STEM is in everything that we do, but it is primarily in the new jobs of the future that are coming, and we are trying to get ready for that. So again, Governor Ivey identified this number back in 2019 that we would need this to be ready for these jobs, to be ready for these headquarters that are going to come across the state. And so when we think about that and realize that that is in 2026, that's a year away, and we think about the AI technology that is out there now and all of the new technologies, what has that number actually gotten to? I'm going to take a second and let Ms. Terry and Coach tell you a little bit about Saving Center.
Imagine a place where you can go to learn, to play, to explore. Savin Center will be a first-of-its-kind campus that will house Tuscaloosa Children's Theater, Ignite, the new Children's Hands-On Museum, and the State of Alabama STEM Hub. It will be a place that prepares students, educators, and the future workforce of Alabama, creating opportunities for young people and teachers in Tuscaloosa and beyond. Football has given us a platform, and we're proud to give back to the state of Alabama. Creating opportunities for young people is what Savin Center is all about. Join us in making Savin Center an Alabama success story. We are proud to call Tuscaloosa our home as it continues to grow and evolve. And to quote a very smart coach who I happen to know, it's not the end, it's just the beginning. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
It's still funny. It's still so cute. So again, so Miss Terry identifies that how we're solving this problem is through being a STEM campus. And so when we say the Savin Center, that is really a campus that has three key tenets. So it's Tuscaloosa Children's Theater, it is Ignite, which is was formerly CHOM and is rebranding itself into a Science Discovery Center. And then our latest partner is the State of Alabama STEM Hub, which is really that workforce education component. So Savin Center will create an educated workforce for the jobs of Alabama's future. How are we going to do that? So students are going to come to Savin Center year after year, but we are going to spark them with our exhibits and our labs about STEM, and we're going to start at a very young age. We're going to invite teachers to come for professional training. They will get exposed to Alabama industries and how to teach STEM in their classrooms. And we are working with Alabama industries to create pathways for jobs, the hard jobs, the new jobs, the jobs of the future, and recruit local talent.
So like Mayor said, this is an exciting slide. Not only am I very proud, but I think we as a whole should be very proud of this slide. Because thanks to your vision to say, hey, let's do something really special on the T News site. Let's do something really transformational for our young people here in Tuscaloosa. We really didn't know what that was. It's evolved a little bit, hasn't it? Yeah. But y'all took a step forward in confidence and took a risk. And this slide is saying thank you. Folks like Alabama Power says, thank you, City Council, for taking that risk. We think that that's a powerful vision. We want to be a part of it. Folks like Parker Towing, Blue Cross Blue Shield, these are big names in our state that are trying to pave the way for the future. You know what else is really cool about this slide? Now, the top half is really a lot of our financial partners, right? But these folks aren't just financial partners. They're joining calls about the exhibits, because these exhibits are not just a museum. They're not just a field trip. Alabama Power, I'm on the phone with them. Audrey thinks this every day, but it's about every other 2 weeks, and saying, how can we make this exhibit drive to jobs and energy in the future? That is exceptional. No one else is doing that. We have brain trust in this town that is amazing that we've been able to utilize. NOAA, the institutes at the university, what Stillman is doing in cyber. All these folks are coming together on a call with our exhibit designers. That's what's making this place so special. So what does that look like? This is, I get really amped up. I'm a washed up athlete, so I'm going to come over this podium maybe. But so this is the energy grid. This is in the energy zone. This is an exhibit. We have a teacher team of 15 people from all different age groups to all different studies. They are writing curriculum for this exhibit. They pass that curriculum off to our exhibit designers who are world renowned. They've done exhibits all over the world. They're designing those exhibits on top of the education from our teacher team. And then we call on our industry partners like Alabama Power and say, okay, does this really connect to jobs that you're planning for today and into the future? In the top corner, we're going to go through a few of these, but in the top corner, you see a hot job. We have a list of hot jobs that is tied to every single exhibit. And I don't just mean the PhDs, the scientists, I mean top to bottom in every category. That's what's important. That's what we're trying to do at Sabin Center. We are building pathways for all the young people who come and have a little bit of a spark to show them what we can do with that spark, right? We have incredible brain trust, incredible companies here in West Alabama. Westervelt's another one. We are working with them. So teacher built, industry informed, backed by research. Every single exhibit has been built this way. Cambridge 7, like I said, all over the world, they've said they've never done a process like this. And again, tying that job to it. Nucor jumps on this one. This is our sustainable communities exhibit. But teacher built, industry informed, and research supported, and tying to that future of work. Every single exhibit is built this way. So we couldn't help but capitalize on just the fascination of aviation, right? So we have a new school in town. We partnered with them. We've had an opportunity to work with Mr. Powell. This is really special. I hope this can be communicated that these are beautiful renderings, but this experience is going to be even better for these young people. Lastly, this is one of our exhibits. This is a newest rendering. This is our drone exhibit. And we've been able to we have a drone specialist teacher. She's writing the curriculum. We partner with TPD. We ask them what kind of jobs do they have in drone. We partner with a defense contractor out of Huntsville. What's going on in drones? So drones are doing everything from washing windows to fighting wars. There's all kinds of opportunities, right? And kids we're putting that spark in their hand, and then we're showing them a pathway. And this is thanks to you. Thanks to you, like Mayor said, in 2019, we all took a step out. The Sabins took a step out. City Council, you were the lead of that step. And thanks to you, we're getting really close to actually making this dream to come to fruition. So it's hard for me not to get excited about it. We have tremendous partners. We have a tremendous project. And there's nothing like this in the nation. So again, we had this is Science on the Sphere. Science on the Sphere was an exhibit that was built by NOAA. We are going to have the biggest and the best Science on the Sphere because NOAA's here in Tuscaloosa. And they said, this is so special, we want to be a part of it. How can we help? And we said, we want to have the best Science on the Sphere in the United States. And so they said, okay. We then called on our folks at Coca-Cola Bottling Company and National Coke. What are you doing in your water research? Water's pretty important to our pop companies, right? Soda companies. And so they're helping us inform. Again, teachers are writing the curriculum that it's based in. So we have all these people coming to the table to make these exhibits, to make the best product for the young people in our area. So what does all that look like? This is a bird's eye view. This is the second floor that you're looking down on. And this is how, I think some folks had an image, or at least I did when we first started this, that would be Gallery A, Gallery B, Gallery C. This is all fluid, pun intended. Our exhibit designers and building architects came down. They were influenced by our water resources here in Tuscaloosa. They were influenced by the Black Warrior River. You can see how the galleries, Alabama Earth and Water, Energy Zone, Intelligent Tech Revolution, and Top Performance Anatomy, they all flow into one another. There's overlapping lessons to be learned. Only in school do we learn in silos, right? So they capitalize on that. And this is an opportunity. They've never done something like this. This, again, first of its kind. I do want to take time and point out that we do have a committed area outside. We went and visited discovery centers all over the U.S., and this is going to be another tremendous selling piece to the Sabin Center. They're all in major cities, and they're landlocked. From Chicago to San Francisco to New Orleans, they're landlocked. They don't have outdoor exhibits. Thanks to the space that you gave us, that you saw a vision on, we are able to make this unique outdoor exhibit. So another great opportunity for the young people of Alabama.
So as Brent mentioned, it is so much more than just a field trip. You can see on the left the picture of a child coming to Saving Center. They are excited and sparked by those exhibits, by the labs and all the opportunities there. But then we have that teacher team of 15 that is writing curriculum that goes to the classroom before these kids even come to Saving Center. So they are prepping the kids, getting them ready for what they're going to experience. They come to Saving Center, they have those experiences, and then there is curriculum that goes back to the classroom to continue that idea. And then they come back year after year. You can see on the right that we have, that tied to jobs. So that's in Mercedes. That's a KUKA robot. We will actually have KUKA robots on campus for kids to experience before they even think about the workforce. And what is super special and unique about this project is that we will actually have an avatar system. It will be a personalized system for each child. They will create their avatar before they come to Saving Center, and it will grow with them year after year. It will collect data on them. Where did they spend most of their time? What were they interested in the most? Did they come back for camps? It'll save the maps that they create or any of the work that they do, so that then a teacher, a parent can look at that data and help guide them in a path that they're interested in. And what's so incredible is that we have this career center that a kid can look at. Where did I spend most of my time while I was at Saving Center? Okay, maybe it was robotics. Did you know all of these jobs exist right here in Alabama? And how are we going to get you on that path? So this is an image of what our roadmap really looks like. And you can see in the blue to the right that the spark happens with the kids with the exhibits. Then they go to that STEM Hub lab and all of that work. Then we have that curriculum. Again, we keep pushing the ideas that it's not just a one-stop, it's not just a field trip, it is an idea that is continuous learning. Then those kids go to that career lab. They get to see what kinds of jobs are out there. They can explore what's out there. They actually can see what are the hot jobs. We will have a rotating hot jobs gallery that will highlight really new futuristic jobs and jobs that are hard to apply for and jobs that kids just don't know about. And then again, we have those teachers coming, learning about the industries so that then they can teach their kids and advise their kids on a path for, is it a post-secondary opportunity? Is it a certificate that they need? But ultimately to get them to an Alabama job. So this is where we are today, and I'm really excited to show you this. This is a fly-through of the site. But I want to thank you all for everything, for your vision, for your support. We would not be able to do any of this had it not been for y'all. I stay humbled that I get to be a part of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity and in something that is really going to change the lives for a lot of kids, and a lot of kids right here at home. So I'll let y'all.
So this is, of course, public calls. That you
I'm going to turn it over to Mayor
All right,
Rice.
thank you, ladies.
So let me close before I turn it over to Ms. Standridge, is that, first and foremost, as been mentioned, is that we thank you for what you've invested into this. I wasn't going to share this, but I figure I would, based off the spirit of the moment, Mr. Wilson. The spirit moves me, but every 2 weeks, as you know, I meet with students and parents of the city schools who've been suspended more than twice. And the story that I relate to our young people that I meet with is that it's really unfair the time and place they've been born into. And what I mean by that is that I was born in 72, I graduated from high school in 91, but if I wouldn't have graduated, there was likely a job I could find. Even if I didn't go into the military, there would be a job I could likely find and be successful, to find some success even without a high school diploma. This generation of children do not get that luxury. They don't get the luxury of failure that you and I had in this room. Think about this. The technology advances are moving so rapidly that today when I go into Circle K, I don't need to talk to a human being or check out with a human being because I use self-checkout lines. There are more self-checkout lines now at every place you shop than human beings operating. Everything that we do is going to need less and less people. We will have drones pressure washing the city's buildings and roofs. How long before it's drones that are cutting right-of-ways? It's already experimenting at Shelby Park with cutting parks. The point I'm trying to make is the jobs that we could all once fall back on if we didn't get our education and we were not prepared will not be there over the next 30 or 40 years. The Saban Center is put into place to have our young people ready. Oftentimes we are asked, and I know for some of us that had to go through a campaign, I'm laughing at the ones that didn't. Didn't Mr. Lanier and Ms. Howard and Mr. Wilson, Mr. Fell, we got asked a lot, what are you doing for children? Mm-hmm. What are you doing for education? Well, I will submit to you, this is a stake in the ground about every child's future, not only in our city, but in our community. Right. And there's nothing like it. And when people talk about workforce development, this meets workforce development right where it's needed to be for the jobs of the future. But there's also, beyond that, the other thing that we wanted was something that would draw people near. So as you know, we have been working with the Saban family on looking at a way to honor Coach's time and legacy as the best college football coach in the United States. Mr. Tyner and I were talking about this the other day, but the Bryant Museum, which is absolutely fascinating, extraordinary, has about 8,000 square feet of exhibit space. It drove, last year, according to their data, nearly 40,000 people visited the Bryant Museum. And this is 40 plus years after Coach Bryant's passing. Well, as part of the Saban Center, we're going to have a legacy hall that will be over 6,000 square feet, making up all of the basically memorabilia, digital videos, other aspects that you would find similar to what you would see in the Bryant Museum of Coach Saban's legacy to the University of Alabama. This in and of itself will be a tourism draw to this facility. So not only do we get the education draw, we also will get those who will come into our community who will spend money to come see these exhibits. This is an idea, I won't say this is the kind of the final rendering of it, but an idea of what will be on the bottom floor of the Saban Center. We're calling it Legacy Hall at this point. We will continue to work with the Saban family, the University of Alabama, as it's being developed. But this is going to be something that is going to draw people into our community and be an extra tourism attraction in Tuscaloosa. This is just another exciting part of what's going to be happening as part of the Saban Center. And I think Mr. Lanier's telling me my time is up with the presentation. This is something that, frankly, we are thrilled about, on top of an already extraordinary project. And so lastly, this is the timeline, and since I know it's time for us to move towards the financial overview of Ms. Standridge, but where we started from in 2019 to where we are today is exciting. And May 15th is the next big marker because that is bid day. And so we're excited about getting to that point. And that's we truly believe this, that because the future will belong to those who learn it first. And I want the future for our young people here in Tuscaloosa. I want them to learn it first. And the Savings Center will have them ready. So Ms. Standridge, if you would go over the recommendation that was part of from last week.
This handout. So one of the things that I can recognize my error on last week was being a little bit more confusing about where we were with the actual bond issuance for this project. And so I thought that it might be better to list it out on paper. So what you have in front of you is really the breakdown of the financing for the project. And we'll kind of go over it line by line. So the various areas that are going into creating the funding mechanism to build the Savings Center, there's $16 million in already approved Elevate annual budgets. There's $3.8 million in already approved River District annual budgets. The upcoming bond issuance that we are putting in principal amount is $42 million. That was previously approved, I think, last year in 2024 when we did the preliminary bond ordinance and reimbursement resolution. There's the cash that we've already gotten in from the campaign, the capital campaign pledges that we've received from the SC Foundation. That's $6.5 million. Pledges that have already been reported to the City Council and recognized in the overall scope of the project, but that we just haven't received in cash yet, is $11.9 million. The state funding for the STEM Hub, when we recognized and accepted that grant award from the state of $25 million, that cash is already in our bank accounts. The amount that we're talking about with this capital proposal and moving into actual bond work is an extra $12.3 million that the fundraising team has found in commitments. And then the interest income that we have earned on the $25 million and the $6.5 million that we have gotten from the capital campaign.
Ms. Standridge, address the $12.3 million again.
Sure. So, throughout our time talking about this project, we have kind of come to the City Council to alert them about what our, pledge donation goals and then how we've been reaching those goals. And our, the mayor, I think, has sent numerous emails, and we've had a couple of reports during budget hearings about where we are in reaching those goals. And so, really, after we hit the last milestone, I think that Ms. LaPish had done such a great job that we increased the goal one more time, really from 20 million, where it was previously, to 30 million. And not just that, but that's kind of even been exceeded. And so that what we have reported previously to City Council was the was
6.5
about 18
the 6.5 already received, check.
Correct.
And
So
roughly 12 pledged but not received. And
Right.
that's the 18, 19.
Is that 18.5? Mm-hmm.
And then the 12
Gets us to 30.
which is set and being pursued, but not yet reported to council, right?
Correct.
Okay, so that puts us over 30.
Over 30,
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
And as we discussed last week, most of the fundraising agreements are scheduled somewhere between 5 to 10 years of payout.
And so if you kind of go over to this smaller table kind of on the right, and these numbers kind of I try to put the arrows in so that it would make a little bit more sense of what I was trying to say last week. The amount that we are proposing for the bond issuance is the $42 million from the city's principal contribution, and then the amounts that we have not received in pledges yet. So that is the 11.9 and then the 12.3 total together in 24.2 million of just fundraising dollars that we have in secured pledges but just not received in cash yet. That, as the mayor mentioned, will be received in a payout roughly over about 10 years. And then that total amount comes down to 66.2 million. I rounded it up to 66.5 million, just to have an even number, in our bond issuance, to be able to sell par value. But that is where that 66.5 comes from, that was proposed in the bond, listing with Elevate last week.
Carla, if
Yes,
you say you've got 24 million, just keep the numbers simple, 24 million of money that's still coming in, right?
Yes, sir.
And let's just say that payment, I'm just gonna make it simple math, 24, just say it's 5 million, whatever, that payment.
Mhm.
But when that money comes in, we'll already have bonded the money, so will that money be used to make payments?
To make debt service.
To make
payments.
debt service payments?
Yes,
on-
sir.
So you basically got almost 5 years, I guess, roughly, right, of debt service payments,
Yes,
right?
sir.
From
Mhm.
that cash before potentially anything could be raised again or something else could happen, right? As long as all that gets paid.
Correct.
Because the only reason these numbers could change if someone decided to write a check for one of these big amounts, that could, I mean, before we bond it or something else, that would reduce the
Would
amount that
reduce
we're
that number.
borrowing. Otherwise, all of that money collected is gonna go toward the payment
Correct.
of this debt. So is that like kept somewhere separate that hopefully you'll have enough to make a payment every year?
So that's
You hope.
so the 6.5 million that we already have received, we have escrow to the side to be able to, number one, earn interest on it as we can, but then also, yes, to make sure that it is available for debt service payments when they come up. So yes, whenever we get a capital campaign contribution in from the SC Foundation, we will escrow it
Goes
to be
into
ready
that
for
account.
debt service payments.
So if we bond money later this summer, that payment won't be due for a year, right?
Correct.
A year from whenever, so you've already got the money escrowed for the first bond payment, correct?
Correct.
And you could have more, so that first bond payment would come out of that money, and then hopefully you'll get enough for the next year, for the next bond payment. So that is gonna be a way to raise more money in Elevate, I mean, whatever, right?
Yes,
That you're
sir.
not actually making
And
a
if
loan
you,
payment.
if you go back and,
So is that money just gonna stay in that? And I know when we talked the other, because I know we gotta dive into all this, but when we talked about funding, let's say, the amphitheater thing, instead of borrowing money, that frees up more cash to be able to write a check for some other things, if that's what we wanted to do, correct?
yes,
So
sir.
we're not
And so
borrowing money.
if you go back and look at the Elevate, the 10-year plan for Elevate that we, kind of handed out last week with the capital proposal, you'll see that we have the full 10 years worth of capital campaign contributions worked into the Elevate plan. Because what that allows us to do is to have a little bit more freedom in the first 10 years of the debt issuance to be able to have the line at the bottom of the big spreadsheet is revenues over expenditures. It increases that revenues over expenditures line number so that you can apply it to other projects.
But also because of the private sector.
Absolutely, only because of that.
It's
Yes.
basically making the mortgage payment.
For that 5 or 10 year
Like all-
period, and then the growth of the Elevate Fund is still growing and
That's right.
exceeding.
And then this money would also be growing too, with interest, of the
You know,
pledge payment we owe.
with the way the financial market is, yes, all fingers crossed.
Well, we hope,
We
because
hope.
we'll be getting interest on whatever's in there.
Absolutely, yes.
That makes sense.
Now, a large portion of that corpus, though, will, because of the 25 million from the state for the state STEM center, that will disappear more quickly because
Because we've been spending it.
That'll be used to pay as we're building and paying for
Right.
it, correct?
Well, that's what we're using now, right, for any expenses that, or whatever. You ever
No,
use that?
no, we haven't touched that. That's
Haven't
also
touched
been,
that.
that's been actually put in a CD and put to the side. That won't mature actually until May, so we won't be able to touch the 25 million for another couple of months.
because that's strictly for the state's portion of this. They're operating their state STEM hub out of the Savings Center.
In fact, a majority of that 2.4 million of interest income,
Interest coming
most
from
of
that.
it comes from the 25 million CD. I think maybe
Will
about
it go back into the state hub only?
only the state hub, yes.
So the principal and the interest only usable for that state hub, STEM hub?
Contractually, I don't think that the interest is required, but that's the way that we've been operating, is that all the interest earned from Savings Center assets are gonna go back into the Savings Center. So any, capital campaign, funding that we've received and then that state donation, all of the interest, we segregated all the interest earned from those assets, and that's going to be, that's what's being proposed to be reapplied to the project.
Okay, so a slightly different aspect here. When, we've been trying to coordinate the last week or so on what's a fairly regular bond trip to meet with our credit rating agencies.
Yes, sir.
Where are they in the knowledge of this, if at all, or is the trip purely to make them aware, or have we already made them aware and we're going up to hear their reactions to it?
The rating agencies are aware of our bond issuance totality, but they are not aware of any of the details surrounding that. So they see the 66.5 million as a bond issuance proposal, but they don't know the details surrounding
Right, and let's, just for the sake of the conversation, let's assume they don't care, as long as on the other side there's money coming in to pay for it and asset coverage. What I'm getting at is, are we do we believe there's anything in here, in what we're talking about, that is outside the boundaries of expectation that they currently have for us on our current ratings?
No, sir. We have reported that whenever we talk to our rating agencies, we will always tell them what our future debt plans are for the next 3 to 5 years. This has always been worked into that.
All of this,
Yes, sir.
they're aware of.
They're
Again,
aware.
details, different level.
Yes, sir. Now, for full disclosure, I would say that the Elevate bond issuances in totality are what is reported to them.
I got that.
But that's, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions I can answer?
Jonathan, you want to recap us on the mechanics of putting this out and getting it back in order to have that sitting up there?
Yes, sir. Currently, we are planning to open bids on May 15th. We have 6 general contractors that are currently working on estimates, and we went through a pre-qualification process and are happy with the 6 that we have that are going to bid on the project. And we have the base bid and alternate set up so that we'll have a total project award to be able to bring to you to consider awarding following the bid on the 15th. And right now, everything seems to be running very smooth for us. A lot of questions coming in from the bidders, a lot of interest. So we're pleased with where we sit right now in the process with bids coming in a couple of weeks.
That's exciting that we've got 6. What date did we turn loose of the requirements?
We so the pre-bid meeting was on the 21st of April. We released documents a week before that. So we around the
Mid-April.
we released
So
documents.
there's been no changes from, it's frozen at mid-April, check?
Right. Yes, sir. We completed design. There are some things in the documents we are issuing addenda to correct and clarify some information in the bid documents as we work through. But the design was complete in early April and finalized everything on the bid documents, the drawings and specifications that were sent out.
Okay.
I suspect, I'm sorry.
I just wonder, what is the projected timeline again on when construction begin, when completion date, that type of thing?
Well, I think that hits right to where I was gonna go, Mr. Tyner.
Okay.
The goal would be to have something for projects committee at I think it's May 27th meeting.
We won't meet that day.
Is it,
That's
after-
Memorial Day.
Then it would likely be the first Tuesday. Now again, is it a 45 or 60-day window?
We had them hold it 60 days.
So we have 60 days. So the goal would be to go to projects on the first Tuesday then in June. If it passes, and again, I think the bid day is going to clarify a lot, right? And then we go to finance, then following projects, and then we go to council. So the goal would be adoption sometime in the first few weeks of June would be the process. If that timeline is followed, let's say it goes smoothly in that process. We also go to the bond market sometime, I think, in June. So the goal would be either we have adoption or we know we're going to adopt when we're talking to the rating agencies in June. We get that council adoption, we get the bond financing, and then we break ground probably, if I had to guess today, Mr. Tyner, again, don't hold it to me, would be sometime in early August. With probably full construction being mobilized later in August, would you say?
Yeah, later in August.
Because
The site the demo will be complete, the site will be prepped, it'll be ready for foundations to start. It'll take a little bit of time to get concrete, rebar shop drawn, submittals approved, and get materials fabricated on site. So there'll be a little bit of prep work on site, but by late August, we'll be moving forward.
you may like the bid so much that on May 20th, you just slam it home and we're done with it. And that would be, again, this is, in all seriousness, this is a very large, complex project. And so, we look forward to going through that due diligence stage with you on that.
If we started late August, when would it be finished?
Schedule has it being completed December of 26, and with the building, and then January of 27, the exhibit installation will begin, and we'll be complete with that in June of 27, and we'll be able to have our opening the summer of 2027.
So basically 2 years.
Yes, sir.
So May 15th, we'll say a special prayer and we'll go from there.
Okay, gentlemen, any other questions, comments?
Sounds good.
All right.
Good job.
Yeah, thank team. Thank you very much, all of you.
I don't think I've ever seen anything so exciting to do.
That's what I just said.
I know that we goes about saying Coach and Terry have been such a lead on this, and they donated millions and millions of their own money to it. That says something, and they are very, as I know, I know Ms. Terry has reached out. They're very, very appreciative of this city and your leadership. So thank you very much.
Exciting.
Mr. Moore,
Yes, sir.
welcome.
Council, how are y'all doing this afternoon?
Good.
We're good.
Mr. Chairperson, I would recommend for this item in the, I believe it's item 3 or 4 on the budget for the revision, to withdraw that. In our discussions, it appears that from a scope of services standpoint, we want to go a little bit deeper, maybe a little bit longer, and not in a compressed timeline, which is easy for us to go back and kind of modify and update. So as opposed to talking about something that may not meet expectations today, let's go back and tinker with that with Mr. Malone, who is here, and we've already got a game plan for that, and bring you a modified scope to meet some expectations for council, mayor, and for the organization, if you're comfortable with that.
It's exciting. We look forward to it, and
We'll be
I
engaging.
appreciate the discussion earlier so that we got this. I think this will work much better.
Yes, sir. And we'll be happy to kind of stretch that out and get you a couple different options to look at with you and Mayor Maddox.
Cool. Gentlemen, you need,
Motion, second draw.
And then
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item is withdrawn.
Do one for Item 3, motion to withdraw.
No, I thought we were treating those as, perhaps, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Item is withdrawn. That leaves us with, is there any other business to be brought before Finance Committee today? Not, is there a motion? to adjourn?
Motion.